Ready.
Welcome.
You know what that's. You know what that sound is.
Welcome back.
The light
It is
melodic
Best Boys,
boy in your ear.
a film podcast hosted
Howdy ho, neighbors.
by your boy Slob Thomas
Wob.
and
Or Kory with some stories sometimes, but
Just-
not all the time.
Kory. You got any stories for us today?
I don't think I do real ones. I had an entertainment news thing that I had all prepped and ready, and then I forgot about it and I didn't write it down.
Well, that's why you gotta write stuff down.
I just choked in the moment just now.
Yep.
But what are you gonna do? But anyways,
Don't
welcome
look
back,
it.
everybody.
Don't look it up while we do it.
No, I was pulling up my notes. But,
all right.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. I'm like wide awake this morning. Well, I guess it's noon now, but my least sleepy feeling podcast yet.
Yeah, I'm a little sleepy today.
Do you have a good week? Good weekend?
No, it was busy. I had to buy a vehicle, and it took all week somehow, and I had to drive to 3 different locations and all over the city. It's terrible. I don't know. It's long. It's dumb. Not entertaining, and just annoying. So I'll leave it at that.
I feel you. I'm about to be on that journey. My partner wrecked her car or totaled her car like 2 days ago, and we are now on the car hunt this week.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing, and it sucks, especially right now. The markets are not great. But yeah, watched some movies this week.
Yeah,
I got a fantasy football draft right after this, so we can't go too long. But so yeah, I'm excited for that, the return of sport ball.
Is there a normal season this year?
As far as I know, it was mostly a normal season last year.
I thought they started late, or it went into a different time of the year. No, maybe I'm thinking of a different sport.
Yeah, so went to the theaters though. Watched some movies. Watched a movie in the theaters, and that was good. I'm ready to talk about that. But that's about it. This house stuff.
Was it empty for you? When I went and saw Candyman, it was completely. Me and Kyler were the only ones in the theater.
No, we went at prime time on Friday, and it was about half full.
We went at 4 p.m. on, I want to say either last Sunday or Monday.
Oh, well, that's why. Yeah, you went at a weird time. It's gonna be dead no matter what.
It was great. We went down to the waterfront at the Lowe's Theater, and it was just, we did the Dolby room, because I have that AMC A-list, so we get the free tickets or whatever. Well, free. You pay for the monthly thing, but
yeah,
the Dolby Theater has the. Oh, you just gotta see 2 movies a month, and then everything else just becomes free. But anyways, it had those reclining seats and stuff, and it was just the best way to watch a horror movie. Just nice and cuddled up in the theater.
I had an experience that I did not have in a really long time, which is being in a theater with a lot of people that are very vocal while they are watching the film. There was a lot of talking and reactions and whatnot. And
I wonder if it's you get used to being watching TV at home, a movie at home, and so it's just was it more vocal than pre-COVID, or would you say it was about the same?
I mean, it's the same. It's for the amount of people in there, it was pretty loud. There was a lot of people talking, and I could hear specifically the people right behind us, everything that they were reacting to throughout the film.
Did it ruin the film for you? No,
it didn't ruin it, because I thought about the perspective of being in the theater, and that's part of the theater experience is seeing people's reactions to stuff if they're genuinely watching and not just talking about whatever, which I think people were mostly watching the movie. So it, I mean, I was annoyed by it, but at first, when I saw Uncut Gems the first time, there was this uh, bro kid behind me that was just talking about nothing the entire time, and I don't like that. But this didn't bother me as much because it's like at least we're experiencing the film together as a collective strangers, and it made it more fun.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
movie's
that was
kind of
good.
fun. The movie's kind of fun. The new one is. The old one is not.
Yeah.
Uh, the old one
Yeah.
is not fun at all. Zero fun had.
I can only
Uh,
imagine what you're talking about watching Uncut Gems though, with how like frantic that movie is. I feel like you got to be really like paying attention to it and shit. Like what can be more pressing?
it's just they weren't into them. They weren't there. They were there to talk to their girls. You know.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, it was horrible. I was so mad about that.
Yeah, I'd be pretty pissed off. I hate that shit. I
That
get
was the
so
first time I
annoyed when
saw
people
it
talk.
too. This is the first time I saw it. The second time I watched it at home and it was good. You know, it was fine.
Gotcha, gotcha.
So there are pros and cons to the theater. I think the theater is an overall better experience now that I've been coming
Mhm.
back. After being stuck with only the big screen TV at home, um,
Mhm.
I do think that because of the sound. I think it's not just the giant screen; it's the sound.
Yeah,
Having
I was sorry, guys.
Candyman had excellent sound mixing, and
I would
yeah.
agree with that. There was what I was gonna say was when I between this and Suicide Squad were the two movies that I did notice that it's like I'm either getting old because every time it got loud I was like, God damn, that's loud. Like my ears hurt. And I'm a person, I don't really listen to like the TV very loud at home. I like it's just loud enough to hear what people saying and I put subtitles on and like I'm cool. But yeah, some of the bigger like noise scenes where you have like the scare jumps or whatever, or like the big action scenes and stuff. It's just like there was a couple times that I just went like winced, which is how loud it was. But it does sound so good having like everything you can like stuff behind you and beside you and like all over the place with the way that the speaker setup is. Makes a world of a difference when it comes to the immersion.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And even once we got past the previews, the movie was always going to be louder than anyone talking, so
Mm.
it's not like I was missing anything. Um, yeah, the sound was amazing in this movie, and that's probably one of the best things it's got going for it. You did not you wanted to watch the older movie last week, but you did not do that then.
I didn't get a chance to watch the older movie, but I went through a bunch of comparisons and scenes of like watching like the original scenes and stuff, just trying to get a feel of it. My goal was to watch it on Friday, and then just with everything with Kai's
Oh
thing, just
yeah.
threw it into a loop.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. Yeah, I watched it first. Cuz I don't I mean I rented it and watched it and it's really good. It's actually surprisingly really good. It's
Yeah,
very
it. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
um I don't remember what I was going to say. It's surprisingly really good. Um And yeah, I don't know. It was surprisingly good. It's very serious. Tony Todd has a really cool voice. Um,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, I say his voice sells every scene that he's in because it's just like he's got that perfect gravel, and then like the opening scene when he's holding all the bees and he's talking about like rip you from your whatever your butt to your gullet or something. Um, it's just so like I feel like it's like for that era. Granted, I guess that it's the '90s, so it's a little different, but it feels kind of like it's fitting in with those like '80s slasher flicks. But instead of it being corny or campy or cheesy, it's like actual like this guy sounds menacing and terrifying.
yeah, yeah. It's a lot. It's much more serious. And I mean, it almost takes itself like super serious. It's very 90s. Everything's really gritty and dirty and gross. It reminds me of Silent Hill. But it's with like the American, the African American ghetto, which is cool. It's actually got a message that's ahead of its time. Surprisingly, I think the only thing that's socially not aged well is that the lead is a white woman. It kind of saves the ghetto from Candyman in the end of the movie. But I think they kind of reconcile that. She gets taken by the Candyman in the end, so like
Yeah.
she is supposed to like be with the Candyman now. And but the new movie kind of retcons that a little bit. And they acknowledge her, they talk about her a lot, but they don't really,
Mhm.
she doesn't come up, she doesn't, like she doesn't come back or anything. She's in, I thought she was gonna be in, like I read that Tony Todd and Virginia Madsen were going to be returning, or they were returning, and Vanessa E. Williams, 3 characters that are in the original. But only Vanessa E. Williams is actually on the screen as herself. The Tony Todd one comes at the end in a terrible CG face. It was
Yeah.
so bad. And
Yeah.
and so like it was a little bit, I not that I got snow dogged or anything, but it was just they didn't actually use the actors
Yeah.
other than Vanessa E. Williams, but she looked great for her,
Yeah. She looked like she didn't age at all. Like,
a little bit, just like she's not as skinny, but she looked great. Yeah, she looked great. She was just like super skinny back then in the 90s one. And so the new one is kind of like a soft reboot. It's not a reboot, it's a sequel, but it's still a reboot at the same time. Kind of a deal. I think I like these way more than remakes because it keeps the continuity of the films. They can change a couple things, and they do change things, but it doesn't really fuck up the original at all. There's 2 sequels actually. Like I don't know I think they're straight to DVD sequels for the original Candyman.
yeah.
But I don't think those. I didn't look into those, and I'm pretty sure they don't have any bearing on the new one at all.
Yeah, this is just supposed to be. It's like how the Danny McBride Halloween gets rid of Halloween Part 2 and it picks up right
Danny
after Halloween
McBride,
1. The Danny McBride Halloweens. He like wrote and
the
produced.
comedian, the comedy
Yeah,
actor.
yeah. The 2 most recent. The new one's coming out next month, and then
Wait,
the one from a couple
what?
years ago. Yeah, Danny
What?
McBride like
Danny McBride did those?
I think he co-wrote and then produced.
I
He didn't
got it.
direct them, but he like yeah,
Oh,
he's involved. He's heavily involved in those the newer Halloween movies.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. Halloween Ends, Halloween Kills, executive. I had no idea. There was a preview for the new Halloween.
Yeah, I don't think it looks good, but
No, I didn't think it looked that good either.
yeah, written by Danny McBride and 2 other guys.
Me and Riss have been watching the Righteous Gemstones, and he's on that, and it's pretty funny.
Man, I've only seen a couple episodes of that, but it just seems ridiculous, like in a good way.
Yeah.
Because then it's just like make it like supposed to be a play on those like televangelist shit. Like,
yeah. But all right, this isn't a Danny McBride podcast. So Candyman is based on a short story written by Clive Barker, and the original director and writer is Bernard Rose, which is interesting because he's British, and apparently he was thinking about race relations in the ghetto and Liverpool, and instead thought it was more fitting to make the story take place in Chicago. And it was a very progressive idea at the time, but now it's definitely a story that needs to be told by a black voice, which is I think what's cool about what Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele has been wanting to get this movie made for a while, and funded it and helped write the script. I think he wrote the original script, and then they kind of worked from that, from what I've gathered. And I think it's really good. I'm glad this exists. It got me to look in the original Candyman. I know the Candyman has a big place with horror heads. I thought it was more just like a straight like a slasher. It's a little more cerebral than I thought. It's kind of got like the original story with Virginia Madsen's like a university grad student, and she's doing a study on like this folk folk story about the Candyman and the Cabrini Green, which is a housing project. And the new one, it's Cabrini Green has been gentrified, and they've built these fancy apartments on them with our lead, Yahya Abdul Madeen II. Look, I've been practicing that name, and
Yeah, that's it. That you killed it.
I'm practicing that name for today.
I
And
said it 5 times in the mirror
I've
right
said
before
it
the
5 times in the
podcast.
mirror. I know him from the Watchmen show. If you didn't see that, he plays. Well, I don't want to spoil who he plays, but he plays a very important character on that show. If you haven't seen it yet,
I have not.
and he's a great actor. He's a great actor. Built like a brick shit house, and and he plays an artist, and that's from he plays an artist, and he slowly finds out that he's actually originally from the area, and he didn't know that. His mom told him he wasn't from that,
He
and
was
he
born on the south
descends
side.
to madness with his obsession with this Candyman, and Coleman Domingo's in it, who is friend of the show from the Zola episode, uh,
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
also Ma Rainey's Black
He's great in
Bottom.
this.
Yeah, he's great in this. He's a great actor. Between seeing him in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, then Zola, then this, I'm now like, yeah, you're a good actor. Though I have some problems with the ending of this movie, which
Yeah, I got confused with a certain twist
yeah, me
change.
and
But
Riss had to like take it. It took me and Riss like 20 minutes to talk things out about the ending to make it work in our minds. And but the movie is perfect to me up until like the last maybe fifth of the movie, the
yeah,
last 20 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. I am so into this vibe. It's high art, street art. High. It kind of reminded me of Velvet Buzzsaw, the movie with Jake Gyllenhaal in it that was on Netflix. The guy who did Nightcrawler did it. It was a horror movie and it was about high art. There's actually a lot of similarities with the use of the galleries and art pieces and things. But this is a lot different than that because of the way it talks about the black experience and whatnot. So our artist Yahya Abdul Madeen II, his name's Anthony McCoy. He's this hot up and coming artist. A lot of his work deals with, like I said, the black experience and race stuff, and he needs something new. He needs a new project. He's starting to get stale. His stuff's getting stale, and he stumbles upon this Candyman thing when exploring the old gentrified projects in the area. And Coleman Domingo tells him about Candyman, and kind of he's lurking in the fucking run the closed off projects, and tells him about the legends.
I love like it was done in the art gallery scene when the art critic is there, and the whole conversation of just like artists come in to make like the poor community seem cool and like to profit off of it, and then it ends up getting gentrified, and it just becomes, and then it pushes the poor out, and then it becomes a new place, and it's just like a cyclical thing. I thought that was a very interesting conversation that the movie had, and just kind of like the overall theme, because the whole Candyman thing towards the end makes like I came off as like, oh, this feels cyclical, as well, and it was very interesting conversation because as you know, we're you and I are both artists in our own way, and so it's just like something you never think about because you just think like
Oh yeah, me and Riss talk about this all the time. That's the cycle of
like
that's the cycle of gentrification. Me and Riss were talking about this just a few months ago, and just like artists move into poor areas because of cheap housing. They then turn the poor areas into hip spots because of nightlife, music, and shows and art. And then that makes normies want to go to the hip party spots, which are at where the nightlife is, which then capitalists want to build apartments and stores to sell things to those people that are coming to there, which then forces the original poor people that live there out
yeah.
of the area. And I've seen it happen in Pittsburgh in multiple neighborhoods since I've been
Mm.
alive, since we've been around Lawrenceville and Bloomfield. I know a lot of
East
people.
Liberty was a lot. Uh,
East Liberty, people start to
like,
say that areas like Troy Hill and Millvale, even New Kensington, people say it's starting to happen too. Well, when me
yeah,
and
this
Joel were living there.
when I was working at the rental house a few months ago, we had a guy in there from New Ken, and he was just wouldn't stop talking about how it's going to be the new like Lawrenceville and all this stuff. And he's saying like it's having this big comeback and resurgence. All these people are trying to put money into it and try to get like downtown New Ken back up and thriving. And it's like because it's one of those things where it's like yeah, that sounds phenomenal, that sounds great, and then it's just the side effect of that is just the gentrification.
You don't know
And
what that's doing, yeah, to the people that are originally from that area.
yeah, it's like it seems like yeah, you're raising the economy of the town and everything, and that's great. But it's when you raise the cost of living and you price out the people. That's the same thing happened at Time Bomb. It's still there, thankfully, but that was a big fear. That clothing store in East Liberty, whenever that was happening, I remember going in there back in college, shooting some stuff, and the owner was just like, "Yeah, our rent has almost doubled over the last couple years, and like, I don't know how we're gonna afford to live here and or like keep the shop here and stuff." And like, thankfully, they're still there, but yeah, I can't even imagine how hard that is as a business owner, um, let alone like just someone living there.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. People that have lived there for generations and that are
Yeah,
poor, that are in like row houses and whatnot. So yeah, this deals with that a lot, and I think that it's the first time I've seen it talked about in like I've had conversations about it with friends, but I've never seen it talked about in a film or TV or whatever.
and the way that they put it together was, or not put it together, but like the way that it was like discussed and like just kind of formed in the movie, it just it for me it made it a very kind of like realize it a lot easier and better. You know what I mean? Because like having the conversations about it is one thing, but then like the way I don't know the way it delivered it just like hit harder. Or maybe I just like absorbed it better.
Well, and hearing it from black voices, it definitely is
Yeah,
gonna be better than a couple us white people talking about it. I think that's
yeah.
where it's much more visceral when it's paired with their personal experience. It's easy for me to talk about being a part of the artists, moving to the city from the suburbs, but it's a lot different, I imagine, being on the other side.
Mm.
And it's just
Uh,
it's not like the artists are bad. It's just that's their place in all of this that we all have to keep in mind.
yeah.
And the cycle of all this.
And then
So as far as sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and they had the comment on it about like rich artists too, because like Anthony McCoy's character is like he's very
Well,
well off.
yeah, his apartment is
The art,
beautiful. Yeah, that's the other
yeah,
thing is he's
and
rich now. He's no longer a poor artist. He's
the art critic
transcended that.
yeah, the art critic at the gallery like pointed out that it's just like like rich artists are just coming back just to use this and then drive like inadvertently drive these people out was like because like yes yeah you have like the poor artists that like do that is one thing, but then like
Mm.
rich artists you could argue is just taking advantage of the situation just to like speak their voice, but like at what cost, I guess. It was good. It's super great. Everything about this movie just like
The
the
vibe is
themes and
perfectly
everything.
nailed.
Yeah,
The cast is
yeah.
excellent. Like the main core cast
Oh,
is
so good.
fantastic.
I love McCoy's girlfriend's brother and his boyfriend were
Yes,
they're the
yes,
levity, like the comic relief of the film, and they're so
yes.
funny.
Stole the
Like
show, stole the movie for me. I want to see that
100%.
guy in more stuff because he has so much charisma. Um, yeah,
Oh,
the whole like black people don't summon demons thing and like that's white people shit. It was cracking because it's like playing on. It's almost like Scream. You think
yeah.
about Scream, like the what's his name, Shaggy, the act. What the fuck, the
Yeah,
actor,
yeah, I
Shaggy.
know. Matthew Lillard.
Matthew Lillard's monologues about how horror movies work, and that kind of reminded me of that, and it's very clever. But still
Yeah.
fun. This movie keeps it light at times, and it's like all this levity and break from
Mm.
the super seriousness, especially compared to the original, where it is just hyper serious all the time. It's
Yeah, it's really perfect balance of not just like dragging you down too much. Like when something's too gritty and too dull, like I mean, I feel like the older one, I've only seen the parts of it, and but it doesn't feel that way. But like you have modern horror movies now, where it's just the same shit over and over again until you get to the end of the movie, and it's like, oh, the demon's gone or some shit like that. But um, this gave you time to process and think about the things that were happening on the horror end while you were just calmed down by the comedy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. So apparently, the actor's name is Nathan Stewart Jarrett. So I want to make sure I gave him his props. Name dropped him because I imagine he's going to be doing more things after this. But Tiana Paris plays Brianna, Anthony's girlfriend. She's almost like Anthony's the lead of the movie, but she's the like they do the subversive like. I guess we can reveal this now. We've been talking about this movie long enough. Anthony becomes the Candyman. Our lead becomes the bad guy, and Tiana Paris, Brianna, she kind of then is the protagonist of the film, and the horror victim, running away and everything. In the end, she survives. And I like that. I mean, it's been done before. It's not like it's never been done before, but it was done well here. We slowly realized that, and like the audience kind of slowly realizes with Anthony that he is connected to the Candyman. I see in the first movie, so as soon as I saw that, his mom was the same character from the first movie, Anne Marie, I was like, oh fuck. Oh fuck! Candyman's coming for you. You're turning into Candy, like, cause he got stung by a bee in the beginning of the movie, and his hand is rotting away, and skin's going bad all the way up his body, and it's all the way up to his face, and
that was one of those things where it was like, is that real? Is that in his head? But then he goes to the hospital, and I guess it does become real.
Somebody commented on it, I thought, at one point, like, don't, like, he was picking it or something, and someone was like, stop that. Like, you need to go.
I think it was mostly him just picking at it and hiding away from it until
there was at the dinner scene, I thought that one girl said something to him for picking his shit at the table.
Maybe. Probably. But I like the symbol, like the foreshadowing though of when he gets his hand all bandaged up. They give him like a hook bandage for his hand. That was obviously pretty on the nose foreshadowing.
Yeah,
I feel like at that point he kind of figured it out. But the way they went about it was like, you were saying like he becomes the villain, but I feel like he doesn't. It's not like a scenario where like they become the villain willingly because they're the hero in their own story.
Yeah, not like that. It was their unwilling.
Yeah, and it's his
destiny. He's just like fulfilling his destiny, and it's a cycle. Yeah. And then that's the one thing that's clever about this. Sorry, I'm jumping on you, but I'm just realizing it's a good point. The cycle of gentrification is the cycle of the Candyman. The week explained by Coleman Domingo that there are these there's a Candyman of every generation, and the original movie. The original Candyman was the son of a slave who had a business and fell in love with a white woman, and they lynched him. But then Coleman Domingo tells us all these other stories of other people that become the Candyman, and now it's Anthony's turn to be the Candyman. And in the original movie, and I guess in this one too, the Candyman is obsessed with his story being told. He wants people to, it's very similar to Freddy Krueger. I don't know if you realize that, but like,
as soon as they said that, like, he needs this shit, like at the end when the laundromat owners like tied him up and stuff when he's giving his monologue, I was like, all right, yeah, this is definitely pulling from that.
Yeah, like they need the story told, but it's different. And it's actually, there's a lot of, Say My Name is the name of his exhibit, and Say My Name comes up a lot. And there's even a moment where there's a newscast where they say Anthony's name, and he's like, oh my God, they said my name. And he's like excited. And they're talking about him in connection to murders.
Murder.
And he's like, his
girlfriend's like, what the fuck? My buddies just got killed, and all you think about is yourself.
And Say My Name is a slogan, for lack of a better term, that Black Lives Matter is used for. I believe I think wasn't it Breonna Taylor?
Just yeah, say her name was Breonna Taylor, say his name was George Floyd, and then it became say their names with just everybody like
Yeah,
the
yeah. I
um
and so
like down in
there.
Pittsburgh they have that fence that has all the names on it and says say their names real big in East Liberty. Uh,
Yes, so it's kind of incorporating that into that, where Candyman wants you to say your name and say my name, and it's also like the whole representation of the Candyman is like traumas done to black people over
yeah.
history. So it is kind of cool. It's pretty cool how they incorporated that. I really think that, and this is something that only I think a black writer directors could. That's why they need to tell the story, because they can do it so much better than even the original. Not that the original is really good movie in its own right, and is necessary. And is, if it didn't exist, we wouldn't get this story. But it's got that, the Jordan Peele and the new wave of black horror. I think of Lovecraft Country, and Sorry to Bother You, and other things. And this is just right. It's right up there with all that stuff. It's excellent. The only thing that brings it down for me is the ending. I don't know if there's anything you want to talk about before we get to talking about the ending.
Yeah, I was gonna say before we get to the ending, there was talked about in the one movie that was an interesting theme where they said Candyman is not only like the villain of the area, but he's also like a protector of of the um the projects in a sense because it's like it keeps people from moving in and gentrifying it because of all the murders and stuff. But at the same time, he's murdering all of these people. It was like a weird
Because
thing.
he
It was touch.
murders
It
black
was like
people too. He doesn't just murder.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not. He's not
He,
just
in
an
the
avenger. He murders.
yeah,
Period.
everybody. But the way that it was like touched on in the movie was I'm trying to think because it was like a line towards the end where it's like that somebody said I can't remember who that it's like him like the like Candyman existence keeps like the area from being gentrified, but at the same time it's the price you have to pay to that is like keeping his memory alive, but it also keeps murders going. And in the movie Candyman murders almost exclusively white people until I think it's like one black person in it, but obviously it being in the area like that it is, it's like murdering everybody. But it was just interesting. I didn't know if you caught that line or what you had thoughts on it. But it's I don't even like not necessarily know what it like if that's an accurate assumption or statement or whatever. But it was just like something to like I thought about it. You know what I mean?
I'm not. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm following you. Um. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm following you.
I don't know, it was like brought up like very briefly in the movie. But I can't remember who said it. But anyways, all right, we can just talk about the ending. It'll come to me later.
Well, other than that, I wanted to talk about the paper dolls. There's multiple sequences of paper dolls, and they tell the stories of there's like an expository sequence in the beginning that tells the story of the original movie, and it's kind of wrong. It's not completely correct, and then
Oh, I did like this. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. But that how they changed the story.
so they change it, but then you find out that it's not true. So it like, if you've seen the first movie, you know that's not what happened, but you're like, oh, maybe they're rebooting it, and then you find out from Anthony's mom that that isn't the story, and Helen saved Anthony from the Candyman in the end of that movie. Because Anthony is the baby of in the original movie, and that's what they
Yeah.
reveal towards the end. So my problems with the ending is I feel like this movie could have used another 10, 15 minutes to do it. And basically we get a big monologue from Coleman Domingo that explains everything that he I don't understand Coleman Domingo's role in this all. Like why
I didn't
he
understand his
exists.
motivation at the end.
So me and Riss just figured that since he's from that area and he saw what happened with the gentrification, that it was time to bring back Candyman. He knew that Anthony was still out there, and and all it needed was to come back together, and he just I don't know how he just happened to be there the day that Anthony shows up, but yeah, I don't know if he's like, because he's not the Candyman himself, that is clear.
No.
He's like some kind of follower of the Candyman.
It was just weird because like Anthony goes back to the projects and he's all like, he's at his like peak of fucked up. He's barely even existing because of this arm decaying shit that's reached his face at this point. And then he goes into one of the project buildings and there's just 3 gunshots go off. But then the next thing we see him is, he doesn't have any like gunshots on him or anything. He's just tied into the chair. And the laundromat owner is just like, has captured his girlfriend at this point and is just like making her watch him monologue and saw his hand off and shit. And like, but I guess this was what I was saying about like I keep not saying his name, the Domingo guy.
Coleman Domingo. I don't remember the character's
Coleman.
name. Burke is
the
character's name. I just know Coleman Domingo is burned in my brain.
Coleman Domingo.
From the Zola episode.
But Coleman Domingo is like, he's the one that's just like, that sees Candyman as something that can that protects the
like a dark event, dark protector. Like it's a necessary evil.
Exactly.
Necessary evil that protects and you could probably say that it's some kind of metaphor for the violence of the hood being a protector of gentrification.
Yeah.
I think there's something probably being said there. And that's a pretty interesting statement, if so. And he's also the villain, so it's a villain kind of perspective.
Yeah.
So he kind of he helps seal the deal, and apparently Coleman Domingo, I don't know if that was his own voice or it was a dubbed white person voice, but he calls the police. Do you know what I'm talking about? He kidnaps Teyonah Parris's character, and she comes to and she hears Coleman Domingo on the phone calling the police, and it's like, sorry to bother you, like it's like a white person's voice is like, oh, there's a crazy black man and he's got a gun and I'm kidnapped at this church. And if it was Coleman Domingo, wow, is that good? But I don't. If it was dubbed, it's just funny.
Probably him, because he's not possessed by Candyman or anything, so I feel like he wouldn't have any powers other than that. It's probably his voice.
That's pretty funny if that was. And then the plan is to have the cops come kill Candyman, so that all these murders will go on to Anthony, and then the legend will continue.
And this is where the point where I realized it was just cyclical, because that's what happened to the lady in the first movie. Her story got changed into that she was accused for all the, like, she was the one that did all the
whole
murders
movie was about her. Yeah, the whole movie was about her getting framed.
Yeah, and so going like, this is just a cycle of Candyman. It's like somebody finds out about him, gets obsessed, all these people start dying around him or her, and then they get blamed for it, and then they get taken by, like, either, I guess now, become Candyman or what have you. But it's I like that concept, but the ending where once Anthony becomes Candyman and then Burke's reasoning for it, like, at all, like, I get it now, but it's still kind of didn't make sense for me. I don't know, but it's I don't know, but we'll keep rocking through to the ending. Maybe we'll all come together with it. But so he saws his hand off, and then he shoves the hook in, ties it with a belt, and gives him the coat and everything. And then McCoy's girlfriend breaks out, Brianna breaks out, and starts running, and Burke runs after her, and like the chase, little fight scene in the projects, and Brianna kills Burke, and sorry, go on.
I was just gonna finish what you're saying. Anthony kills Coleman Domingo, and then the cops come, instantly kill Candyman, Yahya Abdul-Mateen, Anthony, and
instantly,
and
no hesitation
at all, which is fine. I can see that happening. It's just this whole from this point is very rushed, and it's very rushed from this point, and that's my issue. From the monologue in the church on, the movie is very, very rushed. And then we have this excruciatingly long scene of Teyonah Parris talking to a cop with this bearded cop, and the cop is not a good actor.
Mm-mm.
And he's just like, we can do this one way, or we can do this another way, and it's just so heavy-handed, and it's happening so fast and instantly. Like, they rush her into the car, and a cop has to come in to gaslight her into, pressure her into
Yeah.
making a false statement, and like they would at least take her back to the station and like whatever. It's just like it's just rushing it to just make this point happen
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
end. And then I don't have a problem with like the killing the cops and the Candyman, Yahya Abdul-Mateen. The CG Tony Todd looked fucking terrible.
I had a problem with the way that Candyman killed the cops, because the whole movie he is invisible and you can only see him in the reflections. But when this final scene, you can just see him, and the cops can see him, no problem, without mirrors or anything, and they're firing on him and they're getting murked and all that, and that's fine. But like the fact
I
that
thought
like
it
you
was
broke
it's because it was Anthony's body. Like Candyman came through Anthony's body. So he was
okay.
that's why I read it as. And then we just saw Tony Todd's face come out of like it changed to Tony Todd's face right at the end, and it looked so bad.
Like, it was cool whenever he's walking around the cop car and you see in the reflection like all the different faces of the Candyman.
Yeah, yeah.
That was cool. And then, but yeah, at the ending when the bees are obstructing, they finally move, and it was just like it looked worse than the Star Wars like de-aging.
Oh my god, that's what I said as the wrist. I was
stuff.
like, this is so much worse than the Star Wars ones. If you have people have a problem with those, this looks way worse.
Yeah, this is Grand Moff Tarkin like minus like 5 years.
Well, this budget's way lower. I thought the CGBs. No, it doesn't feel low until then. The CGBs are the other thing I don't like. The CGI bees don't look that good.
Yeah.
Compared to the original, where they use the real bees always, and it is fucking real as fuck, and you're just Tony Todd's tongue is like covered in bees at one point, and the original you're just like, how the fuck did they do this? He probably got
there's
stung.
a story.
Apparently, got stung a lot.
In his clause in his contract, he gets paid an extra however many thousand every time he gets stung. That was his agreement to do it, and I think he got stung like 100 times. He made a shit ton of money just off the bee stings.
Oh yeah, the originally apparently they wanted Eddie Murphy to be Candyman, but they couldn't afford him, and that was one of the reasons why, also because of the bee stings. Like, anyone who's gonna do this would have to be okay with getting stung.
Yeah, which is like, oof.
So honestly, this is one of those movies where I was like, this is easily in 4 town, perhaps in 4.5 town, for like the whole movie. And then the ending, I hated so much with that cop, the shitty acting, and Tiana Paris is great. So like, it's not her fault. It's not at all. And it's not the performances of Yahya Abdul-Mateen or Coleman Domingo. It's just this feels very rushed. And the movie's very similar runtime to the original. It's I think this one's hour 35, and I think the original's an hour 39 or something like that.
I didn't even realize the movie was that short. Like, it didn't feel long in any way. It feels perfectly paced. I just didn't realize it didn't. It was
perfectly paced until the end. That's where it in my opinion, showed itself. I thought it could have been another 15 minutes easily. And it's very rare that I think a movie needs to be longer, but I think it in this case.
Yeah, I would be down with an extra 10 minutes. But
just for the ending. Just for the ending. No other things. Yeah. That was flawless, 100%. And I wouldn't change anything about any of it. But yeah.
But I found the thing. So he negotiated $1,000 bonus for every bee sting, and he received, according to this, is 23 bee stings. So he got an extra 23 grand for the bee stings. So, and back in 90s money, like, this came out, what, 1990, 92? That's not bad, especially for what the budget is.
We're missing a piece about Coleman Domingo's character and why he exists. When he was a kid, there was this Candyman in the 70s who was wrongfully beat to death by police for killing kids with candy, and he met him once and was there when he got killed, and that's why Coleman Domingo's got this connection to that Candyman. And to be fair, in the original movie, there is a little boy who is connected to the Candyman. He doesn't he's not abducted or anything, but he's like he views the Candyman as this like force of good, kind of, but like neutral good, chaotic good kind of being.
In that scene when he's talking about the flashback when he's telling Anthony at the laundromat about it all, that's whenever the first hint of like the cyclical thing is really put in, because he's like, well, my Candyman was known as this, was known as this guy Sherman, that making it set up as like, oh, there have been multiple Candymen, and then you get the whole story. Which I feel like is later, or it might be all in the part of the same scene. But that I like that because that meant that it told me at that point that the Tony Todd's Candyman is part of this, and this is like a continuation of that, because he was the '90s Candyman. But that was cool. I don't know. I liked so much about this movie. We didn't really talk about like the lighting or the cinematics or anything of it, but it was like it's shot very beautifully. It's the way that the story structure is with the flashbacks and everything, like, is very well paced. I love all the symmetry of like the wide shots with the single person standing in the middle. Those were all so beautiful. It's really, yeah. It's yeah, like you said, add 10 minutes onto the end, and this is a perfect film. Like a perfect horror film.
Yeah, but I think it's a big. Like it's not like that's a small knock for me. I think it really. I don't know. I really didn't like the ending part. The last like 20 minutes, I didn't like the way it was executed. It wasn't the plot choices or anything, but it was the way it was, and it being so short. That's like pretty decent chunk of the movie. So I'm ready to score it, and I'm giving it a 3.5.
Interesting. I was sitting at a 4 all week.
I easily could see a 4. I could easily see a 4, and I almost gave it a 4, but I was like, no, I gotta. If Suicide Squad's a 3.5, I started looking at my other 3.5s, and I was like, this is the same. This is good. A 3.5 is very good, and this is that to me.
I like this about as much as I like Suicide Squad. I like Suicide Squad a little better, but that's just because it's a genre
the kind
that
of
I'm
movie.
into.
Yeah, that's your kind of movie.
But this I like just as much, and it was a completely different genre and all that. So I think I'm gonna give it a 4, but but yeah, for me, what keeps it from like a 4.5 or above is just I walked away too confused, and not the confused is like, oh, this movie made you think, but the confused of like, I feel like I don't understand why this happened. This feels
I thought there was. Yeah, I feel like I had to really do some mental gymnastics to fill what I thought were at first were plot holes.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's why for me 3.5. But it's very good. It's like if you're into horror, this is great. A modern horror movie. This is a great modern horror movie. And it's
this is up there with like It Follows and stuff, like of those like the new wave horror.
Well, like Us and Get Out. Definitely the Us. Yeah. I think it feels more in line with Us than probably Get Out. But definitely in that wave. And like I said, Lovecraft Country, all these this like black horror wave that's been going on the last 5 years. But yeah, I think we should move on because I do have a fantasy draft after this.
Oh, no worries. I didn't. Were we on that too long?
No. I just want to make sure we move on to the next one.
We're an hour in though already, so that makes sense.
Yeah, we are past. We did go in. I knew we would in Candyman. Oh, bonus Candyman 1992. I also give it 3.5, just for different reasons.
I gotta watch the whole thing.
I think it's worth it. It's short, and like if you're just like I put it on in the background while I worked. And it's different. It's way more serious. And it's got its own. I think because of its super seriousness, it gets a little dull because it's just constantly intense. It kind of feels like a shittier like 7 or something like that. Like they're going for that kind of vibe. All right,
Gotcha.
Annette. This
Oh
movie
man.
is fucking wild.
I
I can't stop thinking about this movie, and I thought me and Riss went through moments. It's long, and through these moments,
it's
you're like,
so long.
do I hate this? Do I love this? Do I hate this? Do I love this?
This movie,
That is how I feel about this. I
and for
don't
anyone who hasn't
know.
seen this movie is wild, but not in a sense of like wild. The plot isn't wild.
Yeah, it's
It's
not
just how
climax. This
it is.
isn't climax.
Yeah,
It's just
it's just fucking how it does
weird.
this,
It's executed.
pretty, done before story, but it's just fucking, oh my
Oh,
god.
it's a quintessential opera story. If you're
Yeah.
familiar with musicals and even much more, I think opera. I saw Don Giovanni a few years ago, or like a couple of years ago, and the story beats aren't the same, but they're like very basic in that regard. Like in an opera, there's only a few characters, and they kind of interact one on one always.
Mhm.
And there's always these. In an opera, everyone sings all the time, so they're gonna be singing in very monotonous. They're not gonna be like. There's a difference between an actual song and when they're just
Yeah.
singing their dialogue. And this is singing dialogue, and I don't know if it works all the time, but
It doesn't.
it happens, and it's the commitment to this vision is commendable. This movie gets me excited, but it's just a challenge. This is
Yeah.
not for everyone. This is if you Suicide Squad is one of your favorite movies, this might be hard for you.
I can. So this is the thing. Like, while I will say this is not up my alley, I do not like musicals outright. I'm not really a fan, and this is coming from somebody who's been a lead in a musical in middle school, and I've gone to all of your musicals. I've been to operas. I've been to so many like Broadway style production musicals in my life. I just am not a fan. I would rather see a play, but I while I don't think that I don't know. I don't it's so hard. I didn't
This
hate it. But I didn't like it. If that makes sense. Like it's just but I appreciate it.
I mean, this isn't like I feel like if your opinions, not yours, but one's opinions of musicals and operas should not really. I think it's you should know it's kind of like those, but it's also nothing. It's also nothing like those. So you could easily like come out of this. If you're really into film, then you might just like this period, regardless how you feel about musicals.
Yeah, and I meant to say like while I don't like musicals, I don't hate this. Like this is something entirely of its own. I feel it's weird.
This is an art ass movie, that's for sure. But it's not a minimal movie. This isn't a subtle movie. This is a maximal movie. Grand.
There's so many.
Throw the kitchen sink at this movie is what this director is doing. There's puppets. There's, like I said, music. There's singing. There is big grand,
heavy-handed metaphors.
Grand sets. Heavy, long monologues. Stand-up comedy. So
which isn't fun. The stand-up comedy that's not funny, but
I think it is
in the world.
It's like dark black. It's funny, but it's just dark black coffee comedy.
I thought the second stand-up of Adam Driver was better than of Henry McHenry. Was better than the first one.
Yeah,
I thought the first stand-up was just bad, but it was like part of like it's not. I took it as this isn't him doing his actual stand-up set. This is just what he's perceiving. I
think it's a little of both, where it's like it's supposed to be more of an like illustrating what kind of character he is in his performance style. He's very much like an evil Bo Burnham. I kept his first set. A couple of those bits are very similar to a Bo Burnham bits. And Riss said it too. Like we both said at the same time, like that's Bo Burnham bit. When he starts talking about making people laugh and the physical, like your larynx and like the music and like the use of the backing track, Bo Burnham does that so fucking much. Where like there's like a backing track ready to go and just starts playing in the middle of his joke about something. And like the gunshots that was dark as fuck. It's like just jet black comedy Bo Burnham is what it feels like. Through the first about half hour of the movie, me and Riz kept saying, "Is this is like Inside vibes?" Like the dark, musical comedy. But then it did not stay that way. It did not stay
No,
that way.
no,
Um,
oh man, there's so many bits about this. So like, I laughed out loud at the second comedy skit when he's just like, so I tickled her a little bit, and then nothing, and then I tickled her a mild amount, and then I tickled her wildly, and he starts sticking his tongue out, just like ah. I was like, I thought that was genuinely. The audience wasn't laughing. I was like, well, you guys are boring.
So apparently,
But
so this film is directed by Leos Carax, French director, and screenplay is by Ron Mail and Russell Mail. They're known as the Sparks Brothers, and there is another. I think it's a documentary done by Edgar Wright that came out in this year that is about the Sparks Brothers. Apparently, they're this English band. I think they're English. No, they're from California, and they're like an underground indie band that is very underrated. And they did several of the songs for this film. Notably, the opener, "May We Start," is probably my favorite song. That's my problem with
that's the
this.
best. Yeah,
The problem with this is that the beginning song is the best song, and I'm
yeah,
like,
hands down.
the first half hour of the movie, I'm just like, yes, this vibe is awesome. Like, I am so here for this. It's grand. It's in your face. Adam Driver is just acting off all over the stage, and
He's so good in this.
Marion Cotillard is also fantastic. Apparently, she did all the singing, not all of it, but most of the singing, the opera singing and everything.
Talia al Ghul.
She's great. Did you just call her Talia? Did you just reference Batman?
Yeah, she plays Talia al Ghul.
All right. You could have referenced her character in Inception, or
Oh yeah, that's the one that I like.
or all the other movies.
When we were watching, it was just like, oh, I couldn't think of what it was from. I was like, Dark Knight Rises.
Oh
Talia
yeah.
al Ghul
Honestly, I
up there.
forgot she was in that. But it always comes
I
back.
forgot she was in Inception, to be honest.
It always comes back
Forgot she was-
to the Cape shit. She's Leonardo DiCaprio's beau in that movie.
Wife. Yeah, her love
Wife.
interest.
But Marion Cotillard's an opera singer. Adam Driver's a comedian. They fall in love, and the guy from Simon Helberg, who is the guy from The Big Bang Theory, not the main one,
He's
but
great.
like the second one. He has a smaller role in the first half of the movie. He's barely in it, but
He's
in the
in
second
one
half,
scene.
in the second half, he's in a lot, and that's very opera-like, where they introduce all the characters in the beginning, and then some of them may not appear again until the second half. Like after the intermission. Me and Riz straight up did an intermission because this movie it's 2.5, 2 hours, 20 minutes. So it's not like the longest movie in the world. But it felt like a musical length to me. Not in a bad way, just did. But yes, the Big Bang Theory guy's in it. I thought his performance was excellent once he was actually on screen.
So good.
There's a puppet. There's a marionette named Annette. I don't know if that's supposed to be a pun or what, but Marionette the Annette. And she is hideously ugly. And she's not supposed to be, but God, do I hate the way that she looks.
So I thought, when it goes to the shot of the ape cradling the puppet, I was like, okay, ape of man, that's
Ape of God,
maybe that's or ape of God. I mean, yeah, maybe like she's supposed to look half ape because he's the ape of God. And that's his thing.
I think that's just the style they were doing.
Then but that as the puppet went on, I don't know. I have so many thoughts of this that are just so ridiculous once the puppet comes in. It completely changed my mood on the film.
Yes,
the puppet on.
The puppet changes everything. And at first, the puppet gets less ugly. The puppet does get less ugly, but in the beginning, it is just butt fugly. And it's these giant ears and weird. It's just like, and it's got this texture because it's made of wood.
Yeah, it looks like paper mache almost in certain scenes.
Yeah.
So bad.
It looks so bad.
Like intentionally, I guess.
And then the thing that makes it even creepier is this is some of the best puppet work I've ever seen in my life. So it's very lifelike. The way that this puppet, it's not like you can tell that it isn't lifelike, like it isn't one to one like a human, but it is so good that it's like
Really?
it is like uncanny valley to me. The
Oh, I thought it moved so like stiff or not at all, or they just like camera cut around to not show it doing certain things.
Oh
Like I
man, no. Once it
wow.
starts flying, no, it's fantastic. Once it starts like doing the performances, once it's that age, like the hands, it does like hands and stuff. It looks so good. It's just like it's like uncanny valley, and because it's so ugly, it adds to the creepiness. I'm like it's good. It's so good that it makes it weird, and I'm sure that's part of the intention.
Mm.
And there's a lot of symbolism in this movie that goes right over my head. I would have to watch this more and dwell on it more. And I don't know how I've got the time to do that there's a lot going on with the puppet. And
Yeah, I mean obviously there's like the puppet is just represented like I took it assuming it's supposed to be is just like it's the um and this is the heavy-handed metaphor thing I was referencing. It's just like this is just their child is just a tool for
yeah, for their
the
own
parents.
lives.
Yeah, which is one is for the mom is for getting revenge on Adam Driver, and for Adam Driver is just to be successful and have money. But
Um
which towards the end though, I feel like that motivation starts losing it a little bit because they don't really go into showing Adam Driver like really living. They have one little montage of him saying he's going out for the night to let off some steam, but other than that, it just doesn't. It doesn't. I can't tell what he's in
no
all.
they don't. They have a song where he's banging all about banging chicks. He's a song about where he goes to the club all over the world as what's her name's touring.
Yeah, that's during that I need to go let off some steam, and then that whole song goes up. But I guess I don't know. It seemed so minuscule in the grand scheme, like the grand size of the movie and the trip and all that. I guess I didn't read it as being that.
Well, and
Um,
like she's using her fame, it's like vicarious fame now. Like he is
yeah,
his
yeah.
it's so and she's like cult status famous.
The oh, this is a random thing, but it has to do with the doll. But I love that Adam Driver has Kevin Gates energy when he has the. So there was this video a while ago of Kevin Gates had his like infant looking baby on his lap in a convertible with no seatbelts driving very fast on a windy highway. And then in this movie, you've got Adam Driver, the baby, on his lap on his motorcycle with no helmets driving at night. And I'm just like, man, this guy doesn't give a shit.
Well, there's a
uh,
lot of really cool shots of Adam Driver on a motorcycle, and in the beginning they even track them singing on a motorcycle and
mm.
driving alongside, and it's lined up perfectly, and it looks so cool. There's so many that like I was like, man, this shot would be so hard to get.
Oh,
Like
there's I love the use of the shot on shot, like picture on picture, like where it's like half opacity, and there's so much of that in this movie of like
yeah, that reminds me of Lynch a lot.
mm,
David Lynch loves to do that.
yeah, but really well in this, especially in like the driving scenes and stuff. They do a lot of that with the motorcycle.
And well,
Um,
no, we should mention that halfway through the movie, Adam Driver kills Marion Cotillard, and they are like on a boat, and it's the cover for the movie has them like dancing on a wave, and it looks like she's into it, but she's not. And she's being forced by Adam Driver, and she falls off, and the it's almost like it's just green screen waves behind them, and
yeah,
it like it looks so like a movie, like a theater set, but just
yeah,
like a visual background, and it looks
mhm.
so cool. I
Yeah. I thought
love
it
the
was
way that looked. It looked like
very.
they'll have some water splashing or something to like
Mhm.
keep the immersion, but it's basically just them in front of a green screen, and like it's obviously 2D, like they're in front of all of it. Um,
Yeah. Well,
it
yeah, some of the waves that they have are like literally like tsunami size and crashing, but it's not really affecting the boat. But like, but it works because it makes me really like. I took it as also symbolism for the relationship and Adam Driver's state of mind during this all and everything too. It was just like he's just a chaotic mess right now, and it that's what you get out of it.
There are big portions of the movie that keep the aesthetic of the stage in mind, and I think that's one in particular. Obviously, when they're actually on stages, when they're performing and whatnot, but that was felt like very the way it was put together reminded me of a theater stage. Um, it's beautiful. There's a lot
Oh,
of beautiful color. There's a lot of beautiful shots. It's long, beautiful shots. Like I said, all the motorcycle shots are gorgeous. There's like, they live in like this forest wooded area, and then he's like rides his bike through the woods and stuff, and that always looks so perfect. Yeah, this movie's put together perfectly. Sorry, what did you think? What are you thinking?
I was gonna say, the one thing that I'm assuming was just meant to be just like a foreshadowing thing, but like when she has the dream, when Anne has the dream in the car, and of like
Yeah,
6 women confronting for abuses and warning her about his rage. Obviously, that's foreshadowing to the future, but it's just like, so is
yeah.
that not real then? That was
That's what I
dream.
didn't understand that either.
And I didn't know if you had a better idea on that than
No,
I,
we
but
did. That was the one thing that we did not understand. And I
yeah,
didn't get to. I did not look into it either.
I took that as maybe it's like she's seen a glimpse of his anger before, and maybe that was just like a dream of fear, like because it's like the Freudian thing of dreams are your biggest fears or biggest desires or whatever. So maybe it was like,
I think
what
she
if
just
what if I
dreamt
don't
it.
know this man or
Yeah, I think I could say like there was another little song part about um oh, there's something wrong, but we don't know what we don't know what it is, but it's gonna drop. It's gonna hit soon. Like there was multiple little songs about that. Like there's just something feels off. I don't know what it is, and it's gonna happen soon.
um I think we need to talk about the biggest portion of this movie though. I would say is the most important sequence of this movie. And that is it's the hyperbole baby, and 4 drones bring down
Baby Annette.
baby Annette, who's apparently, I looked it up, is supposed to be a 2-year-old in this sequence.
Oh yeah, yeah. After
And
all, Annette is a baby.
yeah, fucking
That
oh my
announcer guy
god.
kept making me laugh with the. And
It was so
now,
ridiculous.
baby Annette.
That was the point where I realized, like, all right, this movie is not like, it's not like art house taking itself too seriously. This is all self-aware at this point. Like, there's no way that this was like this is all part of it, because it becomes very campy in points with the doll, and like it becomes uh kitschy and all that, but it's like, from that point I kind of got it. It's like, all right, I'm understanding what this is. I'm fine with it now. This is absolutely ridiculous, but it's supposed to be absolutely ridiculous,
I
and I'm
I saw a review that had a really good quote, and I was like, "This nails it on the head." And if once you understand this, that it's easier to take the film in, and it is a delicate balance between farce and fantasia. And that is absolutely, this is high art and parody. It is comedy. It is drama. It is an opera. The structure of it is an
yeah.
opera. It is, there's highly metaphorical things. There's just like in the very beginning, there's random sound waves on the screen, and it just doesn't explain. There's actually waves come up in multiple scenes. I think someone's in the
Mhm.
when she's having the baby, they show like a
Yeah,
monitor, and it's got crazy waves, and there's
but
like
all the waves
sound
go to the beat
waves.
of the song.
Yes, yes, yes. And then like the waves when Anne is. I think we didn't mention Anne is the name of Marion Cotillard's character. When she gets killed on the boat, there's waves. So waves is a big theme of this. And yeah, baby Annette being a tool of her parents. And I mean, it's much more so like she is a tool of her mother, but her mother was murdered.
Yeah, so I'd say it's less on the mom, but when at the
But
end
I
in
guess
the jail scene,
the
it,
expectation.
yeah, it's like,
She can't have her own life if she has to represent her mom or whatever.
but the only reason she's even representing her mom or anything is of Adam Driver. So I just like at the end where she kept saying I can't forgive you both. That's like I I took it as when Anne is like I'm gonna haunt you through her.
Well,
I took it
yeah,
as
that's
like
selfish.
yeah, but how would Anne know? But I guess this is fantasy. Anne just knows that uh in her little
Yeah.
2-year-old
Er,
marionette body.
Um,
Um, yeah, you gotta suspend belief on certain things like this, but it's a movie like this. You're supposed to, it's you're either all in on this or you're not. I feel like.
and what makes it? I want to explain what makes it farcical is a lot of the songs are not even the songs, but usually the dialogue singing is very literal. Everybody's
Mhm.
singing about what they're doing, and it's like, I love you," or we love each other so
Yeah,
much.
we're in love now.
Yeah, we're in love now. Something's bad. Something feels off. It's very, very literal. There's a lot of depth to what you see on the screen and the visuals, but the dialogue singing is very shallow. And then you have a scene where Adam Driver's on the stage, and all of a sudden it's this dump of real depth in the dialogue and the performance and everything. And um, it's just super. It's weird. It's like almost jarring. Like, oh shit, we're having real things happening now. Um, like they're talking about real, much more than just what you're seeing on the screen or whatever. The ending made me cry, and I honestly don't even know why. It was really
Really?
sad. It was really, really sad.
It was bad. Yeah, that ending shot of Adam Driver looking through the like the visitor room window as it pulls out was. I'm like I shouldn't feel bad for this guy, but man, do I fucking
Well, I
he's
feel bad for
selling
the
it.
kid. That little girl is
And
killing it in that her
oh,
acting
for
and
sure.
singing in that scene. It's that little girl is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, like
Um,
that whole interaction setting up that final shot of the pullback was just like, man, there's just so much like hurt you just
so
saw.
so in the end, the puppet turns and like it's revealed that there is a real girl, and she like the puppet. I don't know if it's like the puppet becomes a real girl. The real girl appears beside the puppet, and the puppet is cast aside. It kind of shows a little bit of both those things.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
shedding. She's like taking her own life and
yeah,
shedding
like now I'm gonna
the.
taking her life into her own hands, and like I'm not gonna do this anymore, and blah blah blah. And yeah, the performance from this girl is really good. Little girl is really good, and she sings really good. And it's not the same singing as the puppet, but yeah, really good. Did you stay for the credits? Because the credits had like everyone in the
I did
cast
not.
with balloons and stuff. It was like this big long visual. Yeah, you got to stay for the credits.
Oh man, no, yeah,
Yeah, you missed stuff.
I turned it off and we started playing Metal Gear last night. Um, I figured it was like it didn't seem like the kind of movie to have a post credits thing.
Well, it's not like
Uh,
post credits. It was like playing during, like the whole cast like was like walking down a hill and like chanting, and like they had these colorful balloons, and it was really cool. And after having such a somber moment at the end, there was like this. It was just, I don't know, melancholy and sweet, and I really liked it.
yeah, I'll have to go back and watch that. That sounds that sounds pleasant, actually. But there's yeah, I don't know. I'm talking it out makes me like this movie more.
This movie's
But
really good. It's just it's not for everybody, and it's super challenging. And it's like, yeah, I could talk myself into not liking it, but I like so much about it. This was a movie where
yeah,
so for the whole movie I was like, this is cool. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. Maybe it's 3-ish, maybe it's 4. And then the ending I loved so much. Like it was the reverse of what it usually happens, where the ending makes me like it less. And
yeah.
this ending was so good to this weird ass fucking movie. Like, how do you end a movie like this? It's like I don't even know if you would have gave me this movie 3/4 of the way done and said finish it. I don't know how I would do it. But it's done so well, and it's beautiful. This is a beautiful film. It's weird as fuck. I don't know if I could watch it very often. Um, or like at least need to let it breathe before I see it again. But
Yeah.
I really liked it
A,
a lot.
a big thing, and could be my closing thoughts per se, but the I immediately coming off of this movie, I just kept thinking about like, like how do we push cinema farther with things? Like obviously going from like the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, like technology is usually what helps drive it, and then along with like taking what's been done before and how do we do it different and all that stuff. But watch this movie was just kind of like we're getting these such interesting things, or it raised the question yet again to me, like how much farther do we push cinema? Not saying that this push cinema is like so far. This is nothing groundbreaking. It's just
It
it was
is
so
though.
unique and peculiar to me. Like,
Yeah,
uh,
this is it takes genres that I don't think get used as much in the modern age, being
yeah,
musicals and opera, um, and takes those and takes the structures of those things, opera structure, and
yeah,
makes and adds some kind of modern narrative and modern filmmaking techniques to that. It's very old and new, and I think it thus made something very unique and new. Weird.
yeah.
Oh yeah, we didn't mention that there are long shots of Adam Driver eating pussy in this movie.
Oh God, no. Oh, I have this written down, and we I didn't get to say it, but the shots of them having sex very much look like a Sistine Chapel painting style thing, or like a Greek sculpture
Yeah, I
type
could
thing.
see
The way
that.
that they're posed
Yeah,
and
I could
everything,
see
because he's
that.
like super muscular. She's very like tone, and everything is just like the way that they were having sex is like not a comfortable way to have sex, but it looked like it's
It's
posed
trying to
like a
make it like
painting.
a painting. Yeah, that's definitely what I was trying to do.
Yeah,
Um,
well, I thought it was cool. I like that a lot.
yeah, it was really cool.
It was very, it was very tasteful, sex. Like it's not anything like I wouldn't, like be feel uncomfortable sitting next to my grandparents during that scene or something. Um, but the pussy eating, that's a different story. Uh,
So, a couple things before we rate it. Apparently, originally this was Rihanna was eyed to be Anne. Um,
really?
then she was replaced with Rooney Mara. Um, then she was replaced with Michelle Williams. Then which ended up with Marianne Cotillard. Michelle Williams and Rooney Mara being big indie queens of the last decade. I could see either of them in it. I wondered if the singing was a reason or what. I couldn't see Rihanna in this role.
I would say if depending on the direction and the acting coaches and the sound coach, like the coaching behind the scenes, I feel like I feel like it could be done from the singing and musical standpoint, but for the regular like spoken dialogue, obviously it's still like sung, but I feel like that wouldn't have landed as well. Also, you might the whole time just being like, I can't believe this is Rihanna, and then that might take you out of it. Um,
Yeah, and
because that can happen too.
yeah, it'd be interesting if she did the opera singing and if
I think she could. I think she
I
could
think
do
the
it. I think that
acting
would be great.
demands. I think the acting demands might be too much. It's not,
Yeah,
Battleship.
same,
Uh,
same.
not that I wouldn't want to see her act more. It's just going from Battleship to this is
Yeah,
quite the leap, um, in terms of
uh,
demands.
I
So,
agree. I agree with that.
with this, I'm gonna just throw my score out there because I feel good about it. I'm gonna give it a 4.
Oh wow, nice.
I think it's like I said, is this is not everyone's 4, but this is a 4 for me.
Yeah, that's. I agree. I see it. I'm not giving it a 4. I came off the movie with a 3. Because the songs weren't that memorable outside of the opening song.
There were
I
some memorable, but the opening is like straight up infectious.
Yeah, and I just felt like there was a lot of repeating of stuff, but that's kind of what the genre
Musicals have
does.
reprise. Yeah, there's like
Yeah.
reprises. That's part of the genre.
Um, but I felt a lot of just like the performances in this were so good that I just kept wondering like would I like this if it wasn't this cast? And then just the um what's it called? the puppet stuff, like I get what it's doing, and I think and it pays off in the end for sure. But just I felt like some of the ridiculousness might have just been a little too much. But I don't know. I kind of am leaning to a 3.5 now, but
Do it,
I'm
do it,
torn.
do it, do it, do it.
I'm torn because
I knocked the camera over.
I don't know because I don't know though. As we've talked about it more, I've liked it, but I definitely came out just being like,
it's really well made. It's well crafted.
yeah, oh yeah, that's it's nothing. Any knocks I have, nothing. It's
It's hard to digest. When I after the first half hour, I was like, Kory's
yeah.
gonna love this movie. And then after about 2 hours in, I was like,
Oh yeah.
Kory's gonna hate this movie.
No, first half hour, I'm on board. I was like, this is pretty cool. This is interesting. I like where this is going. From the doll on, or from the doll being born until the drone scene, I was just kind of like, this is just so ridiculous. This is when art gets too far up its own ass, and then
This
the
is
drone scene
maximal art.
happened.
And I'm not a
Yeah,
big maximal art guy. I'm always been a prefer of minimal. This is
yeah, you're less is more, which I'm kind of in that camp too. But
this is an example of more is more, and
the
it's
but
not for
once the
everybody.
Yeah, but once the drones hit, I got it. It was just like, all right, this is meant to be. This is parody. Like this is meant to be as ridiculous as fucking
Wait,
possible.
we're going. Wait,
Um,
the announcer. Not only was he just like, after all, she is. Nervousness is to be expected. After all, she is a baby.
and
And
then
then,
they
and
set
then
her
like
up 3 times
three
to
times to do it,
perform.
and she doesn't do it. And then after the last one, the announcer like off the mic is just like, hurry up, you fucking bitch.
Yeah. I thought that was Adam Driver at first, and I was like, wait, no, that wasn't his voice.
Oh
But
man, that guy
then
was
she's
so
just like,
funny.
my daddy kills people. And that's just fucking, oh man, it's just so ridiculous. And then I thought the whole like the scar thing on his face that kept getting bigger throughout the
Yeah,
movie,
yeah.
being like
I think it's like the
the
mark of the
guilt
beast.
thing.
I
Yeah.
guess that's what Riss said. The mark of the beast, because he kept referring to the beast earlier, and he's
I took it because he keeps scratching at it from once it falls. I took it just like it's a metaphor for just like his guilt and shame just growing and growing. Because by the time he's in jail, it's at his biggest point, but he's actually like coming to terms with how shitty of a person he was. Um, I don't know. It's just wild. It was wild. I think I'm gonna give it a 3.5, but it's definitely a movie I'm not gonna recommend to
yeah. This is
people I know that aren't gonna.
yeah. I mean, you can say that you liked it, but I wouldn't be like, you can't
Cool. Like
recommend
that's
this
fine.
to your parents or something. You got this is
No,
for film
half
heads
yeah,
only.
half my friends I could not recommend this to. I have
I
like
mean,
my
I couldn't
film friends that
either.
would be into it, but yeah,
I would
it's
see
something.
more. I would see more of this guy's films. Hopefully, if they're not as quite as long. But
So I was this morning just out of curiosity when I was like going through like other people's thoughts on it just to kind of see what the consensus was around the water cooler. Somebody on Reddit said that like if you thought this was super weird and out there, you should watch his earlier movie, I think Holy Motors.
yeah,
They
Holy
said that's
Motors is
like
supposed to be really good. That's what I heard as well. So we'll put it
it's
on the
supposed to be like
list.
way weirder than this.
So just in terms of my own ranking, I put Candyman right below Suicide Squad and above Pig, and I thought that was a pretty solid place for it.
I'd put it right around Suicide Squad.
Annette, I put it around Bo Burnham Inside because but it's right below Boy for me. Above
I
Heat,
like.
below Boy.
Oh, this is better than Heat. This is definitely better than Heat.
But
Sorry to any
you
of those
hated
people
Heat.
out there. I didn't. It was so boring. Oh, it could have been a good film. There's so many great moments in that movie, but it's just paced so poorly.
Heat is a maximal film. You want to talk about a maximal film? Heat is
Yeah,
a maximal film. It's very indulgent.
Heat is that director's Zack Snyder's Justice League. Like that's what I like.
Michael Mann.
It's just it's Michael Mann's Justice League. Fucking um But yeah, I would put this better than Heat. I'd put this. I think Bo Burnham's Inside is better, just because of it's more.
It resonates with me
It
more, but as far
yeah,
as a
it feels
film,
fresher of an idea and everything.
I don't know. Annette is definitely a fresh idea.
No,
Annette
like
is,
story wise though, like this is a it's the same. You know, what I mean, it's not new story wise. It's new in how it's presented. Um, Whereas Inside to me felt completely new, because it just felt like inside the mind, like breaking down somebody's mind from who's essentially just been like locked away with their own thoughts for however many months.
all right.
I found it a lot more interesting. But anyways,
Yeah, let's figure out what we're doing next week. If we can't, we can just end it. But because I wanted to, we were gonna meet and figure things out, but we didn't get a chance to. Um, so there's actually a lot of movies coming out in October. Dune, Wes Anderson's next movie. I think Edgar Wright's next movie also comes out.
yeah, I saw the trailer for that, and I don't. It doesn't feel like an Edgar Wright film,
I know. I'm
which it
really
might be a good
excited.
thing.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. Um, There was a couple other things that I don't remember. I had a little short list of things coming out before the end of the year. So October is going to be busy. So if there's anything, there's nothing really new that I need to see. Val, I wanted to see the Val Kilmer documentary, but I don't.
Yeah, I want to see that, but that's.
It's
I feel like a doc is different for this. Does that make
unless
sense?
it's like really really acclaimed. I don't think we need to do it.
Yeah.
It is A24, so I'm gonna have to do it from my A24 list. I only have 30 movies left, and I want to finish it and make a essay video about it, like tier ranking or something like that, and just talking about
Yeah.
the A24 vibe. I've been thinking about writing an essay for a YouTube video,
We
so I am doing that.
When's The
Also,
Matrix 4 coming out? Is that
Matrix,
October? Or is that
it's like December, I think, it's supposed to come
okay?
out.
Yeah, we've
Um,
got time for that.
so yeah, I would like to do some of those directors' movies. I'd like to do the David Lynch Dune. I'd like to do a Denis Villeneuve movie. Since we haven't done him, right?
No, we haven't. I'd like to do Blade Runner 2049. I haven't seen that movie yet. I've
Yeah,
heard
I'd
it's
like to see
really good.
something of his that's not a franchise personally, but if you haven't seen that, I will watch it.
I feel like give me a chance to like do a Blade Runner. We could do just a Blade Runner episode instead of
Yeah. We'd
doing
have
the
to.
original.
Half of doing a Blade Runner episode is explaining to people the cuts because there's like 8 cuts of the original
Yeah,
Blade Runner and half of them suck.
like
Uh,
I'm doing the final cut and that's it, or whatever. Whatever's the
no,
I
I
think the
know
final
we have
cut's
to
better,
watch
right?
one, but I was just saying explaining them. Um,
Hmm. Oh, that was
um,
me like talking to the audience, not to you. Sorry.
oh
We're doing the final cut and that's that, or whatever cut we pick.
yeah.
Da, 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 da.
Yeah, I don't know. We can do. I think we'll have to figure it out unless there was something I
All right.
had in my main brain, but I didn't. I don't remember now.
You said bring on the rock, people. We're watching Noah.
No, I don't want to watch Noah. Let me just
Uh,
see. Let me just see on old Letterbox if there's any what people are watching. Jar me. Nope, not
I'm looking
really.
at the list. I'm looking at the list right now.
That's your
Robbie,
pick.
do you want some?
Otherwise, it's your pick. Otherwise,
Okay.
as long as
If it's my pick, then. Oh, I don't know. What are you feeling? You feeling a comedy? You feeling something more
I don't
serious?
know. Just pick a director you want to see a movie from.
Um, I mean, I feel like every week I have brought up killing of a sacred deer just because I like the lobster a lot.
Do you want to
Uh,
do
uh,
2 of his movies, or do you just want to do 1?
um,
We
because
could
all
do.
the other stuff I want to see, we can partner with newer movies coming out later. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like put that on pause. Yeah. What
Also,
else?
I just want to say while you're looking at that, the anime podcast, Best Girl, the anime podcast, we are recording that tomorrow. So that's gonna be coming up, and I don't know if Kory, if you're going strong and you don't want to miss any weeks, that's fine. But we can use the anime one as a bonus episode, or we can, if you want to take a week off, we can use that to fill the gap.
I'm going. Yeah, I'm going strong for now. But once October is going to be very busy for me. So so that might be something to talk about in October. But
Uh-huh.
September, I should be fine. I only have 2 days in LA, in September. So I leave next Saturday. So I'll be able to do Sunday podcast no problem. And then after that, I don't leave for LA until the 22nd. So yeah,
Mm-mm.
I'm cool. What is today? Today is Sunday the 5th. Gotcha. But all right, yeah, I'm gonna have to think on it because I keep seeing a movie I want to see, but then I'm like, nah, that would be paired good with a movie coming out later. Uh,
Yeah, I had ones in
'Cause
my mind, but I wiped myself, so I don't remember now. Um, I want to see more John Waters. I know that. I want to see. Oh,
like I want
Me and Riss wanted to see. Little Women is on. We have Stars right now, and Little Women is on it. And we wanted to see
to.
Lady Bird. To do a Greta Gerwig episode at some point. Oh, I noticed Slither from James Gunn is on Amazon Prime. I'd really like to watch that.
Hmm.
And do a James Gunn. I know we just did him, but if we wanted to do
Yeah.
another one of him,
I mean,
um,
I definitely want to do
I
like
think
Fargo.
I think
Uh,
I think doing ones that are on streaming, if we're not going to do new ones, is a good idea because it allows people to watch with us without
yeah.
having to spend money. Um,
I guess the two big ones that stick on the list for me right now are Midsummer and Fargo.
I don't
Would
want to watch
be
Midsummer again.
Yeah. I figured. I
That's
figured. I heard it's long.
I can't believe you haven't watched it yet. Honestly,
Uh, no, it just like never was the time, I guess, to do it. Because yeah, there's so much Lynch I want to watch. There's so much I would love to get in and do Edgar Wright stuff. I'd love to do, but it's about like I feel like stuff that we're going to do later in preparation for the newer movies. But yeah, I don't know. Let's just instead of eating up time with the podcast, we'll text about it. There's so many on this list. Ah man.
All right, all right. Yeah, you should probably. Yeah, I try to think of the ones I want to do beforehand, so we should do that so that we don't get to this point. You there?
Yeah, sorry, I was reading. But yeah, that's fine. We'll
Yeah, you need to make your own short list. So when it's time for you to decide, you're ready to go.
copy that.
All right. All right. Well, then I'm ending it here. I'll post on the social medias what we're doing next week. And yeah, look out for the Best Girl Anime podcast. Make sure you follow us on everything Spotify, subscribe on YouTube, like on Facebook. I'll run Apple Music and all the other things as well, the audio. And yeah, if you have suggestions for something you want to see in an episode, feel free to let us know. I've actually had some friends hit me up over the past couple weeks, let me know that they've been listening and they pop in for episodes that they've seen the movies too. So if there's something that you really want to hear us discuss, let me know. And you're always welcome to join us in the Twitch chat on Sundays when we record, and you can join in and participate yourself. But yeah, so I'm JP. You can find me at Slob Thomas, and Kory's with a story. You got anything else to say to the kids?
I'll see you on the next one.
All right, bye.
Peace.